Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today I am starting my NFL mock drafts. It is draft season, ladies and gentlemen. I know it is December, and the draft is in April, and we are 4 months away, but I think it's time to get into some draft season. I have my first NFL mock draft for the Chicago Bears. Sorry for the accent. But either way, couple of quick announcements here. Help me reach 225 subscribers for the end of the year. I know that's a little bit of a difficult goal, but help me reach that, and I will be doing 2 viewer-suggested videos, so leave your suggestions down below. Other goal that I want to hit is 250 before the end of draft season, so help me at that goal too. By hitting that subscribe button, like this video if you enjoy it, comment all your thoughts and opinions as always, your mock drafts, your thoughts, your anything. I just enjoy the content and the good banter back and forth. Other big time announcements before we get started, and make sure you stick around till give me about 30 seconds for this. I have introduced my website, so I will be entering into a mock draft competition using that website, and I will be putting content on that website. I already put up a couple of articles there, so if you want to go check that out, link is in the description. Make sure that you go check that out. I will be doing some content on there. Notre Dame previews. I'll be updating that website more often as we get throughout, so make sure you go check out that website. And if you want it, it's just go check the description. Either way, let's get started with today's video. So, the Bears only have 5 picks at the moment. Those 5 picks are number 38, 70, 144, 148, and 185. They don't have a 7th round draft pick due to... What was it due to? I'm not sure. They don't have their 1st round draft pick due to the Justin Fields trade. And at the moment, that is the 6th overall pick in the draft. So, even though... yeah, you do lose the 6th overall pick of the draft, I'm still taking Justin Fields every single day of the year for a 6th and a 19th overall draft pick. So, let's get into today's mock draft. At number 38, the Chicago Bears select Roger McCreary, cornerback out of Auburn. So, I picked Roger for a couple of big reasons here. One being... Today, he was named a first-team All-American according to the AP. He is an extremely good defensive back. He has a lot of skills, and the Bears are in massive need of a cornerback too. You have Jalen Johnson, and I really like his development, but the problem is you don't have a CB2, and Kendall Vildor, yes, he has been valuable from a 6th-round pick perspective, but he is not your long-term solution at number 2. I like him as a backup, but I think you need to address that position. So I think I did that by addressing it with picking up Roger there as with my 2nd round draft pick. Other players that were available was Brandon Joseph, the safety out of Northwestern, Sean Rhine, offensive tackle out of UCLA, Kyron Williams, running back out of Notre Dame, and Kenny Pickett, quarterback out of Pitt. I do want to say this. I know 3 of those guys. I know Joseph, I know Williams, and I know Pickett. But as we're starting to get into draft season, I will know more and more players as we get more into January, February, March, and especially into April. But right now, I'm just starting to understand who's going, who's not going in the draft, who's staying, stuff like that. So I do apologize if I don't know all the prospects or their names or the pronunciations or stuff like that. But I went for a cornerback over, obviously you don't need a running back with Kyron. You don't need a quarterback with Kenny Pickett. You don't need an offensive tackle in my mind with Sean. I'm doing this video right after the Green Bay Packers-Bears game. Tevin Jenkins played a pretty solid first game as a rookie. I'm really liking the development out of Larry Borom at right tackle. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens long-term there, how long Jason Peters is out, and whether Tevin Jenkins continues to start at that left tackle position. And then I think that you're only down to one position of need on the offensive line, and that's center. And I addressed that with my next draft pick at number 70, Jared Patterson, center out of Notre Dame, replacing one center, Sam Mustipher, with another in Jared Patterson. I will say this. I don't know that much about the center prospects in total outside of Lindstrom and the Iowa kid that now I'm blanking on his name, and Patterson. Outside of that, I don't know any of the center prospects. But with a third-round draft pick, I was really excited to get Jared Patterson. I think that he'll be a solid addition, and I think that it's a much-needed addition with really starting to see the obvious downside of having Sam Mustipher as your center. He has some technique and credibility at that position, but he has absolutely no strength, and I don't think he has the capability of adding to that strength. So I really think that Jared Patterson would be a good addition at center. Obviously, if you lose James Daniels, that may be a more pressing need, depending on which one you think is worse, Sam Mustipher or Alex Bars. Neither one is a great starter, but both can be good backups, but neither one can be a starter. So the other players that were available was Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. There's no way I was picking him. To be honest, I think he'll even return next year. I think he has one more year of eligibility left. Then Abraham Lucas, offensive tackle out of Washington State, and Romeo Doubs, wide receiver out of Nevada. The only position that I was looking at was Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver out of Nevada, but I just didn't think he fit the mold that I wanted, and there's another wide receiver that I did draft later in this that I really like a lot more, and I think has a lot more potential, and I understand that Romeo Doubs has so much more potential than this wide receiver that I drafted in the 6th round, but I really think that this wide receiver has a lot more potential and can be an Allen Robinson type replacement. Then heading on to the next draft pick, you have at 144, you have Charlie Kolar, tight end out of Iowa State. So I understand you have Cole Kmet. I understand that. But there wasn't really any money for me to pick. And like I said, I don't know everybody. And, here's the other players that were available was Tariq Woolen, cornerback out of UTSA, Rashad White, running back out of Arizona State, and Tyler Smith, offensive tackle out of Tulsa. None of those guys perked my interest whatsoever. And I really think, here's the other thing. It depends on what type of scheme comes in with a new offensive coordinator / head coach. Hoping you fire Ryan Day, or hoping you fire, not Ryan Day, I'm sorry. Hoping you fire Matt Nagy and maybe bring in Ryan Day. Hoping you fire Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. Whoever the head coach is, maybe Ryan Day. It kind of depends on his system, what he wants to use. Does he want to do more 12 personnel, more 11 personnel? What type of personnel does he use a lot? But I think Charlie Kolar in the 4th round, I think this is maybe the 5th round. It's 5th round, I'm sorry. But a 5th round draft pick, at that point, I'm just looking for talent, and I think that Charlie Kolar could be a good addition, especially if you don't think Cole Kmet's going to work out. I think that he will. I think he is a solid addition, and I think he's a solid tight end. But I think that Charlie Kolar could be a good, solid addition behind there, but I could see why you would disagree with this pick. At number 148, I have Xavier Henderson, safety out of Michigan State. So the main reason why I picked him was his physical presence that he has at the ball. I watched the Michigan State-Michigan game, and I'm like, man, now that's a dude. He comes at that ball. He plays, I think, a strong safety position. I don't know that much about the intricate parts of Michigan State's defense, but I know that Xavier Henderson really impressed me while watching that game. I think he could be the Adrian Amos replacement that the Bears have been looking for the past 3 years. And I think that with that means you can get rid of Shashawn Gibson, use Eddie Jackson, and maybe the role he's more expected to play in, and maybe mold a more dynamic type of player. Other players that were available was James Impey, center out of BYU, Wanda Morris, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, and Jeremy Rutgert, tight end out of Ohio State. I could really see the other player that was there was George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. I could have picked George Pickens, but I really think that second safety spot is a big-time need, especially with the decline of Eddie Jackson. So I think that Xavier Henderson would really fit into that role instead of having both two free safeties, because Eddie Jackson and Tashawn Gibson are both more free safety, center field type safeties. And if you don't know what I mean by that, they play more in the uptight part, and then a strong safety plays more in the box, in the run defense, and the free safety plays more in the pass defense. I think that Xavier Henderson fits a lot more into that Adrian Amos strong safety run defensive type of role, and I really think that he could fit there. Or maybe I have not watched that much of this game in coverage, but maybe you could put him at that nickel spot, something that the Bears desperately lack. At number 185, you have my final pick, and that is Emeka Emezi, wide receiver out of NC State. And I've been watching this guy in the Clemson game, the North Carolina game, and a couple other games throughout the season, but mainly those two games I watched pretty much from beginning to end. So those games really impressed me a lot through this guy. This guy has a lot of talent. This guy has some great possession ability. And I really think that this guy, paired with a Darnell Mooney, I'm going to kind of assume that Allen Robinson has 2 feet out the door, not even 1 foot. I think he has 2 feet out the door just because I think the Bears have treated him so poorly. And he's played pretty bad this season. He's been a non-factor almost the entire season, and I wonder if it's that Mitchell Trubisky liked him as a target, and Justin Fields and Andy Dalton both liked Darnell Mooney more as a target, because Mitch wanted those short passes, the slants, the curls, the rub routes, the stuff like that, that he needed a possession wide receiver, and now all of a sudden, Allen Robinson isn't that useful. So I think that spending a 6th-round pick on a guy like Emeka Emezi, who has a lot of potential, who has a lot of talent, and I think is going to move up the boards quite rapidly into maybe a 3rd-round discussion. I think he's just a great value. The other people that were available was Kobe White, the cornerback out of Cincinnati. He is the cornerback opposite of Sauce Gardner. And then Ali Gay, defensive end out of LSU. That pretty much wraps it up for today's video, so make sure you go check out the website down in the description. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below. But as always, make sure you hit the 2 videos right here. Hit the subscribe button up here and help me get to 225 before the end of the year. Make sure that you are checking out all of this draft content for the rest of the year. And I will see you guys later. Bye.